Yeah. Rabbi, yeah, she in the Hebe house. Selling salvation to the goal, yeah. Rabbi, yeah, she kicked the merchants out. They tryna steal his foreskin collection. All the coin clippers and the bankers gotta get the fuck out. The second temple is she's trap house of salvation. Fake ass Pharisees acting like the chosen people, but they ain't white. Merchants betraying to be the real twice, but they ain't you. White, Christ is white. White, you're 100%, you're obedient. White, 7 foot, 2 and not a Jew. Turn the other cheek like a boss while they spit on you. Up and down on the cross when they crucify you. Turn the other cheek like a boss while they spit on you. Up and down on the cross when they crucify you. The second temple, trap house, hottest club full of Aryan honeys. It's like Hyperborea in Jerusalem, kosher wine be flowing. The goyim come with the gold for salvation. If you was a pagan, you better back off your she ain't need no blicky. He gonna bite off your dicky and add it to his collection. Big yeah, she be a dealer of salvation. Best goddamn blessings in Jerusalem, guaranteed afterlife in Shemayim. Pharisees always trying to kill him. Turn the other cheek like a boss while they spit on you. Up and down on the cross when they crucify you. Turn the other cheek like a boss while they spit on you. Up and down on the cross when they crucify you.
What's up, guys?
I hate conspiracy theories, but I'll tell you one about
not doing this. Wanted to watch a little something late night stream before I go to bed. I saw this out today. JP Sears and Joel Webbin. How JP Sears became a Christian. I'm expecting it to be something like, oh, everything's so demonic and satanic and Jews in Israel are so evil that Jesus in the Bible must be real. So we're going to see if it's something, though. We'll watch some of this, probably 1.75. If it's boring, we'll watch something else before it gets late and I got to go to bed. We'll do a big stream in the morning. But how is everybody doing?
I could honestly say I accidentally got more Christian.
Right.
I never woke up one day and said, I'm going to be a Christian. I'm going to intentionally be devoted to this. It's more intentional now, but the accidental part was...
No, COVID happened. He started to get in more with Republicans instead of leftist. And if you're going to be a right-wing MAGA influencer, they all suddenly come to Jesus, right? As soon as they get on the in the MAGA sphere. Can't be a MAGA influencer and not be promoting Jesus.
I like to use this analogy. If someone walks into this room with really bad body odor, you're naturally going to be leaning in the opposite direction. So with evil, which just put a D on the word, it's devil, but with evil never being more obvious in our world, if you're not willing to do the bidding of the evil for whatever reasons that seduce you in, you're naturally going to go into the opposite direction.
Oh my God, it's what I ever called it, and exactly the same. Oh, they're so evil things, so we got to believe in Jesus. Oh, evil Israel, so let's worship the King of the Jews, Jesus. Oh, it's satanic, demonic, Book of Enoch, fallen angel, Satan worshipers running everything, so Jesus is the answer. Every time. Every time. What a false dichotomy. Oh, this supposed satanic boogeyman, adversary of Yahweh. Oh, we got to believe in Yahweh. Every time. Right? We don't even got to watch the rest. Already saw exactly what I was expecting to see.
Of evil. You're just... Let's move away. Mm-hmm. And what's in that opposite direction is God.
This is just one part of a 5-part series with myself and JP Sears. In this series, we're going to be discussing everything from how JP Sears became a Christian, his personal testimony, why comedy is inherently transgressive. We'll also be talking about MAGA, Israel, and what the future of politics here in America holds after Trump. This series will slow drip out to the public with one episode airing each week on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. But right now, you can actually binge the entire series ad-free by downloading our brand new app, NXR Plus, so that you can watch the whole series without ads, listen to our exclusive audiobooks, and much, much more. So find NXR Plus in the Apple and Google Play Store today.
Radical Christian nationalist pastor, Joel Webbin.
Joel Webbin.
But you wouldn't have to describe yourself as cultural. Your evolution as a comedian, as a human being, how you became more right-wing, all that kind of stuff, political, culturally speaking. But now I want to talk about religion, because you were always a fairly free-thinking individual, but and maybe spiritually minded, but you wouldn't have to describe yourself as being overtly Christian 10 years ago.
Yeah, I would have probably tried to talk someone out of describing me that way. I would have like, oh, that's kind of, well, dogmatic. So I'm not a Christian.
Right.
But yeah, that's changed.
But that's changed. So can you talk to us about that change?
Yeah, give you a little bit of context to frame the change. I was raised, I like to say I was raised pretend Catholic. So my mom's
many such cases.
My mom's whole side, very Catholic. However, growing up, we never went to church unless my grandfather on my mom's side was going to be around. Then we'd pretend we'd go to church, and it was pretend Catholic. My dad was and still is an atheist,
when Grandma was around too.
I value that. Like to me, there's just like this. Wow, I kind of learning to think for myself, understand what my dad thinks, what my mom thinks. But growing up, even though I did the first communion kind of thing, it was just going through the motions as a kid. None of any religion I experienced made any kind of sense to me, all the details, like it didn't feel meaningful whatsoever. And then in my young adulthood, starting when I was 18, started to get introduced to some books that were in the category of new age spirituality. And over a decade, I went pretty deep into that. And I value a lot of what I learned, just sort of taking my mind, my perspective of life and playing with it, experimenting with it, an exercise of thinking for myself, even though there's plenty of dogma and negatives in that world. I very much valued what I was exposed to. And then fast forward, while thinking, people who are religious are just dogmatic. They're not thinking for themselves. They were just born into it.
What up, Amalek? What are you laughing about? Just how I said it's going to be, there's evil in the world, so run to Jesus? Like every one of them says this?
That doesn't make sense to me. But then in starting 2020 with what happened with, I think, evil never being more obvious in our world, something shifted inside of me where I could honestly say
we've never seen evil before COVID. COVID's the most evil thing ever. Jesus must be real. Come on. How much evil stuff there's been.
I got more Christian.
Right.
I never woke up one day and said, I'm going to be a Christian. I'm going to intentionally be devoted to this. It's more intentional now, but the accidental part was, I like to use this analogy. If someone walks into this room with really bad body odor, you're naturally going to be leaning in the opposite direction. So with evil, which just put a D on the word,
or it's just devil. Like he realized he didn't like the left because of COVID and everybody on the right is Christian. So he might as well get in with the tribe and be a Christian. Sell the God bless and the Jesus shirts and the Jesus merch. 3 million subs on YouTube, or 2 million, 2 or 3 million.
But with evil never being more obvious in our world, if you're not willing to do the bidding of the evil for
it wasn't like him researching and realizing Jesus really existed, or him reading the scriptures and thinking, oh, these are such great teachings, or knowing the history of the Bible or what the Bible says that made him want to build. It was just the satanic panic, fear mongering, and people doing bad things that made him think, oh, well, then I guess bad things exist. Well, I guess let's evil Satan, let's go believe in Yahweh. Satan serving the role, scaring people to run to Yahweh, corral all the goyim towards the Jewish Messiah. What happens every time? Now he's at the Joel Webbin Christ is King conference. I know, probably hasn't even read the Bible.
For reasons that seduce you in, you're naturally going to go into the opposite direction of evil. You're just, let's move away. Mm-hmm. And what's in that opposite direction is God.
Yeah.
And combining that with that same time, I found out I'm going to be a father. And that
they always say that too. They always say that. What does having children make you think Jewish prophecy stories are true? I had kids too. Didn't make me all of a sudden believe the Jews were chosen once and had a covenant.
So much inside of me. We talked about in the first episode other things that woke up inside of me, but the world I was seeing it through a very different lens, now the father lens, and Christian values, Christianity. It's like I was seeing it for the first time. It just made sense to me. And to this day, I won't pretend to be a perfect Christian, far from it. I won't pretend to be the most practiced Christian, yet I will say I'm a Christian. it just becoming a father, seeing evil, it just, wow, without even trying, it's like hero's journey, kind of came back home to it. And lastly, I'll share I'm not touring anymore, but I've been touring the country very regularly doing stand-up comedy. And after comedy shows, I'd have these VIP meet and greet, Q&A, conversation discussions. And I was really intrigued to learn I'm not the only one that happened to of getting accidentally more Christian. So many people would share their stories.
They're all revivaling to Jesus. All the people that came to his show wanted him to be a Christian. And you know how the Christians act. Like, hey, JPC, what do you think about Jesus? Are you a Christian? You know, knowing if they can support him or not. When you have a big a following as him, signaling to the Christians and being approved and part of the Christian club could mean millions of dollars at this high influencer level.
To me, where they found Christianity, they found Christ without trying. And of course, like eventually apply some effort. That's probably a good thing. But it turns out I probably wasn't the only one with this natural response to seeing evil and just like really being astonished. Like there's more evil in the world than I could have imagined. And this is just the evil I'm seeing. Right. There's so much more.
Yeah, things are so evil, says the guy that's like constantly accusing Erica Kirk of all these things, murdering her husband, not grieving, relentlessly mocking her and accusing her of things. Yeah, so much evil in this world. She must get a kick out of that, seeing you harass her with that shit.
That you don't see. And like humans, people harbor evil without knowing it. So glad to say a lot of people have shared they had a similar sort of push into the field of being a newfound Christian since what started in COVID. And I think the evil, the patterns of evil we saw in COVID, even though COVID's quote unquote
I completely
over,
called
they never announced it's
over.
over.
I didn't even watch it, and I called it.
Those patterns of evil, I think to this day in 2026, they're only getting bigger and more intense.
Yes. Yeah, it's been said that one of the most persuasive proofs of God is the existence of a devil.
Yeah.
And I think your story is...
And this is why they make up demonic stuff. They make up fake demonic stories. When Jeffrey Epstein has beef jerky emails, they say it's cannibalism and Satanism and baby meat. Why they go, oh, it's the rock bands are all satanic. Right? Harry Potter, it's sorcery and Satanism. They're always satanic panicking because there's no proof for Jesus, so they manufacture or they point to edgy LARPers that are being like counterculture that LARP as Satanist. And then they say, oh, look, that's proof Jesus is real.
It's indicative of a positive epidemic.
Yeah, he saw the evil during the COVID, but missed all the evil the church has done throughout the world. Catholic Church, you think the Catholic Church, the institution of the church, ever did evil? Oh, that evil exists. So that means the problem of evil should prove that there is no loving God, actually, creator God. They spin that evil exists. So God must be real.
Where so many people were overcome, where they couldn't look away, and they couldn't, and it couldn't be, not only could you not look away, you couldn't explain it away. There was no, because it wasn't just the science or a logical conclusion. It's like, yeah, but I can understand. Like there was no rhyme or reason to be able to explain why so many people lockstep would do something that was so directly correlated to the country's harm and to the harm of children, some of the most innocent in society, like why we would.
Yeah, but it's hard to even argue that COVID is like evil. Like arguably these people were panicked and scared that there was going to be a huge pandemic and everybody was going to die. So they're like, yeah, we got to save everybody, make everybody stay apart and stay inside and, take vaccines. Like you act like every person that promoted vaccines was like evil and demonic or something. No, they just believed the science and wanted everybody to be safe. It's not necessarily, maybe the people at the very top plotting shit could be evil. But to act like nothing's more evil than COVID, that God must be real, is just scraping the bottom of the barrel. How weak are you? Times get a little tough, and you just sprint, run full speed to the Jewish scriptures.
Certain policies that we knew we knew would
I love it
set
too.
back.
Another post-COVID truther, post-October 7th anti-Israel guy to Jesus pipeline. The conspiracy to Jesus pipeline. Internet conspiracies to Jesus leads you straight there while they pretend like, oh, they're trying to destroy it. We're so edgy and counterculture, promoting the most establishment institution of the last 1700 years. Unconventional wisdom says, I want these weak people crushed. Yeah, Russell Brand's another one. Andrew Tate said this. Liberty Lockdown, Jake Shields, Sam Tripoli, they all say the same exact line. It's crazy.
The next generation by years, they would develop speech impediments because they couldn't see their mother and father speaking to them with their lips moving because of masks. Or they were going to be out of school for a year or for 2 years and wouldn't learn how to read. And it was like the most visible. It was the most visible sign of the older generation. You always think instinctively that fathers and mothers would sacrifice for sons and daughters, you know. And
this isn't some demonic, satanic thing, though. It was people panicked about everybody getting sick and dying. That's what it was. Trying to take that and spin that into this like weird, evil, satanic, insidious something.
Fathers and grandmothers would sacrifice for their children, and especially even more so their grandchildren. And it was the exact opposite. It was
godless.
It was godless. It was truly the embodiment of evil. It was 75-year-olds saying,
churches were shutting down
I've
too
got
and
to be
promoting
able
COVID.
to squeak out 5 more cruises.
Yeah.
You know, even if it means that my grandchildren can't speak or read or have any hope of a job or an economy left to speak of. Screw them. You know, and the bumper stickers. I mean, it sounds like hyperbole, like it's a joke, but literally, I still to this day, I'll drive and from time to time see a bumper sticker on a car on the highway that says, I'm spending my children's inheritance.
It was
and I think
one of the biggest challenges to eating healthy is having quality food available when you're on the go. That's why I want to tell you about our sponsor today, Paleo Valley. They're 100%
the existence of a devil.
Yeah.
That caused
off. Use a link in the description for this episode. That's Paleo Valley beef sticks.
I thank God for the boomers because the boomers proved the existence of a devil.
Yeah.
That caused millennials and Gen Z and Alpha to believe in the existence of a God. And perhaps that's all the greatest contribution that the boomers make throughout their lifetime is proving that the devil is real so that younger generations might...
hold on. Did you guys miss that? The boomers proved the devil was real? How exactly has the devil been proven real, Joel? How exactly? What's your proof of the devil? Yeah, beef sticks? That's satanic. What are you in the beef, in the... Good one, Amalek. They're in the Epstein. Oh, looks like he's got an owl here too. Owls are satanic. Everybody knows that, right? Moloch, not Moloch.
Might run to God as a refuge. But that happened, and so many people, it was so obvious they couldn't look away, they couldn't explain it away, and they're like, this is not normal human behavior, because there are Vikings and Nordic tribes throughout all of human history. There have been plenty of pagan people that were not Christian, but it was still normative that men go off and fight in order to defend and preserve their posterity.
Yeah.
Right? Pagans do that. The non-Christian, and Jesus says this in the Bible, he says,
well, is he just saying like even pagans fight? He's like, the pagans would have fought, but these Christians just rolled over for COVID. What was that point he was making about COVID? Was that a pro-pagan point? Like even the pagans would fight this shit.
Which of you, if your son asked for a loaf of bread, would give him a stone? Or if he asked for a fish, would give him a scorpion? If you then, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more?
Oh, you're right, Parisia Time. The Olympics opening ceremony, that's the proof that the devil's real. Right. I forgot. Oh, yeah, the MTV Music Awards where somebody did a devil horns. That's the proof. Good one. Yeah, endless pagan W's, right?
Heavenly Father give good gifts, the gift of his Holy Spirit to those who ask. And so that's a biblical principle that Jesus is making an argument from the lesser to the greater. He's saying pagans are still decent parents, right? We find this in the animal kingdom.
True.
Right? Just on raw instinct without rationale or a conscience or a sense of morals.
Pagans are better parents than Christian parents, if you think about it. It doesn't say to hate your mother and child and put Jesus first. Pagans are better families than Christian family. Christian family values, not good. Have you read the Bible? They're not good.
We know that even dumb animals are like, that's my baby. I love my baby.
There's enough God in them.
Right. There's some kind of grace, this common grace undergirding just the whole system of creation. And to see human beings completely literally just throw that out and do the exact reverse. Like everybody has to, I don't care if it sets you behind 5 years academically. I don't care if it puts millennials just beginning their career, puts them behind for life financially, their ability to save towards retirement. I don't care if it hurts my kids. I don't care if it hurts my grandchildren.
What's your
I
greatest
don't care.
proof of Jesus?
Everyone
COVID.
will cater to me and my sensibilities and my facade, not even objectively, but the subjective feelings of safety. I have to be, and it's like, shoot, I don't know if I believed in the devil before, but I do now.
There it is. I think the easiest way to recognize godless people, and in a second I'll make it about other people, but like, let's be real and take some ownership. It's also the easiest way to recognize when we are living in a godless moment. It's when us or we see other people making their lives just about them and their own gratification. That will usually, if not always, have an expense as a negative impact of on those around them. Could be their children, future generations. But it's easy to see in the quote unquote elites, the Bill Gateses, the Faucis, the Netanyahus, the Ted Cruzes, the Lindsey Grahams, these people that here's their agenda. And their agenda is nothing more than to gratify their own insatiable appetite for power. And you look at the consequences, the lives that are destroyed.
You just named a bunch of like Christians and Jews. They want their own power, but they have a religious agenda as well. They're inspired by the Bible that you say must be real and the solution at the same time. Yeah, self-preservation, a fundamental trait.
Easy to see in these like huge examples of like, well, okay, but they shot another school full of children and killed more children in Gaza. And look at these videos that Israel is trying to suppressing this godlessness because they have this powerful, this agenda for more.
Dude, that's not God. That's doing that in the name of Yahweh.
Parisia Time sent $0 on genuinely appreciate your tireless work.
Thank you, Parisia Time. I appreciate you, bro. He's really saying like the Jews are killing people in Gaza, so they're godless. Like, so they're so evil and godless, we got to worship Yahweh. JP, they worship Yahweh. Yahweh commands them to slaughter the Amalekites. They call Gaza Amalek. They're doing it for Yahweh. Yahweh is who commands them to take out the 7 nations and conquer the promised land. And be the light to the nations and conquer the Goyim with their Messiah. This is why I always go, Zionism's not Judaism, so it's not Yahweh. They're not doing it for Yahweh. He always says that, right? Or he'll say, they're atheist secular Israel, so they're godless. It's godless agenda over in Israel. No, they're doing the Bible agenda, inspired by the Bible. Is it just me? How is this not obvious that they're so off the mark here? This is the lie they tell each other to cope, that we don't have common decency. Yeah, have these guys even read the Bible? Well, I know Joel has. They're godless, but also worship Baal and Satan as God, and then they really worship Yahweh. And Satan and Baal are their enemy of Yahweh.
Power, it's all about me. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think...
No, Jews in Israel is not about me. They're a collective. They're a nation. They're a tribe. It's about the tribe. It's about the preservation and mission and destiny of their tribe. That's what it actually is, not me.
The flip side, recognizing people, and when it's us in the moment living with God, we're not making it about ourselves. We're making it about others. And what I try to do, again, far from perfect, I think I do it some of the time. I have a heck of a lot more I can do. But when I try to live by this sort of mantra, my life isn't for me. My life is to be in service to those around me, and that's ultimately.
He just had a kid with this wife, and then they're divorced. And now he's become a Christian and teamed up with Joel Webbin.
To be in service of God. So before I
liked him when he first started his YouTube channel. He's doing these funny like hippie yogi videos, making fun of yogis. That was good. Now he's just a cringe e-crusader, Christ grifter.
My day, and it's all about like what's going to make me feel good, right. Egotistically, whatever. It's just all about me, and hopefully that has some benefit, or I'm seen in a good light. And now I can look at my day and be like, there's not one thing on my calendar and my duties that I'm just like, yes, this. I'm stoked on this. It's more like, this is everything I should be doing. And I think the more we do that, my experience is the more I do that, the more what I want kind of reorients.
Yes.
Because just gratifying myself, that's a good dopamine hit. And then it's empty.
Yes.
And I just need more and more of that. But when I'm making my life about other people to the best I can, it can often suck in the moment.
Yes.
It can be painful. It can be a grind. It can be frustrating. It can be just not gratifying. But then the moments after, the next day, a month later, looking back, it's like, I feel pretty fulfilled. Like not gratified, but something far greater.
Yes.
So he's not selfish anymore. Now he's just feels so good that he's talking about Jesus to everybody. Used to be about his views and his clout and his followers, but now that's not important anymore. All that matters is that he spreads Rabbi Jesus. Sounds exactly like Russell Brand. Hollywood doesn't matter anymore, and it's all about Jesus. But really, it's like you're still running around trying to be the big shot.
I feel fulfilled. Therefore, what I want starts to reorient from what I want to what wants to live through me. What I want is to be more of service of what's needed so I can benefit other people. And I think that's ultimately nurturing God's creation. Nobody ever tells the power hungry, hey, God's creation doesn't stop and end with you. So I think, long story short, I find the more I can orient myself to that feeling of fulfillment, and yes, like that's actually pleasurable long term, but it usually doesn't have that short term pleasure. I find that's like a practical.
Yeah, good. I like that part of your time. Yeah, JP, trying to be a decent person is fulfilling. Jesus isn't required for that, though.
Mindset that helps me, hopefully, serve God rather than living in a godless way.
Yeah, well said. So one of my questions is... So,
you're serving God by harassing Charlie Kirk's grieving widow. An agent of the Lord.
I'm thinking, man, this is more than just natural human behavior. Like it can't be explained. It's as though there actually is... There's a physical reality. Certainly we can see it with our eyes, but it seems as though it's more than merely that. There's some kind of spiritual reality that's moving and shaking and shaping these kinds of behaviors because they don't make logical sense. There's something more pernicious going on, attributing that to some kind of spiritual entity that is evil, a devil type figure. Then that, think, well, if the devil is real, then maybe God is too. So all that makes total sense. And I've heard that testimony time and time again, especially during that year, 2020, and a few of the corresponding years.
Exactly. Everybody lost their, Amalek says this all the time. Everybody lost their minds because of COVID and started believing in every single conspiracy, fell in the conspiracy pipeline to Jesus. You start getting into conspiracies, you think everything's satanic, demonic, and so Jewish Messiah is the answer. What is this? 20 minutes.
The high water mark of the left where things we forget. It feels like it was a lifetime ago. It was so recent, but it's almost like we want to forget because it was so terrible. But the high water mark of the left where it was just like, it was really dark. It was a really dark time, but that pushed a lot of people into the light. And so that explanation, I've heard that testimony from several individuals. It makes total sense. I believe it. I've witnessed it. I've seen it with my own eyes, people coming to church, that same kind of story. Here's my follow-up question that I ask everybody who has that similar testimony. So I'll ask you as well. That experience certainly, I think, objectively pushes someone into the belief of devil and God, but doesn't necessarily require someone to embrace the truth of Christianity specifically.
Yeah.
So why Christianity?
I just said that.
That's a good question. Part of that conveniently could be the culture I live in. Correct. Here in the U.S., we're not.
Oh, there you go. He basically admits it. Well, everybody else is Christian. Everybody that likes my videos and likes me and is nice to me is Christian. Well, if I want to have lots of people like me and everybody's Christian, well, I better be Christian. He literally says it. Pandering to the crowd, preaching to the crowd what they want to hear.
In Zimbabwe, right. I don't know what religions are.
Mostly Christian, but I hear you. If we're in some Muslim nation or something. Yeah.
Right. So it would be a different story, and I don't know what my answer would be there. But I can say being blessed to live in still the greatest country on earth in spite of all of our problems. This is, I guess, by law, not a Christian nation, yet right. Being real, it's a Christian nation. So here I am. And one of the questions I had to ask my friend, still speaking to why Christianity, he and his father are just great Christians. I love talking with them.
Isn't that kind of sheepish? It's just like, well, everybody else around me is a Christian, so I'm going to be a Christian too. It's just like, well, being a Christian is like trendy right now on social media. So like, that's might as well be that. It wasn't like, he heard the story of Jesus and was so compelled that that's what brought it to him. Dude, this is so much. This is a good microcosm of what's going on the grand scale.
Because it never made sense to me before. Is like, why Jesus? Like, I believe this story, but as a Christian, why do you worship Jesus and not just God?
Right.
Like, no disrespect, kind of seems like that's the middleman. What's the deal? And just in kindergarten terms, they explained it, probably because I knew who they were dealing with. They said, well, because Jesus was a human and he was God incarnated as a human, therefore Jesus is relatable.
Yes.
As opposed to try to relate to infinity.
Right.
Like, it's just a much harder thing to grasp. So looking at Jesus, the human, he's very relatable. You can see how this human lived, what this human taught, understand this human died for you, which is the ultimate sacrifice. Talk about parents that would do anything for their children versus parents throw their children under the bus. And that clicked for me. It's like that makes sense. Why Jesus matters. I know Jesus matters, but it made sense of like why Jesus can matter and should matter to me in my spiritual religious practice.
Yeah. Well said.
He matters to you because he died for you. So he's God who died for you to fulfill his rules as a sacrifice. Come on, dude. How can you go from just being like a reasonable, rational person to just like swallowing that because of COVID?
I love.
I don't even think he does believe it. That seemed like bullshit to me, to be honest, right there. Well, Jesus died for me and sacrificed for me. It's not about him, though. It's not about him, right?
Part of it. So you kind of gave two answers. The first piece was, okay, so why these things that happened providentially, forced me to believe that there's some kind of religion, sold me on religion. Not just spirituality, but some kind of religion. Yeah. But why this religion? Well, part of it is because I'm here in America. And I actually think that is a great argument. I've done like a lot of videos on this because in the church world, which is like any religion, sadly, or like any political party or anything ever, there's a sliding scale, there's a spectrum, there's factions, and everybody, has their own isolated, opinion and disagreements and all that kind of stuff. So Christians, shocker.
Dude, is this another new background? How many different studios and backgrounds did they have? How much money is rolling in? The new app, all these big conferences, all these crazy sets. Dude, the E-Crusader shtick is lucrative.
In my little neck of the woods, within
Kremlin
the broader
cash.
Christian scope. So I've been in the
American Shill says Jesus had a bad weekend and came back good as new. How was that a sacrifice? Yeah, dude, he had to save you from Adam and Eve by shedding his blood in a Jewish magic blood ritual. Now you're not cursed to hell anymore if you believe in that story. It's just 15 different rugs and chairs. It's all these different chairs and rugs and background. I like this one. I like this bookcase a lot. I'm getting tired of seeing this noise dampening like wood wall panel. They have them on Amazon and Costco. I was looking at them. But this rustic shelf with the ladder, I like that. I like that look. Wish I had some cool studio like this. Maybe if
Reformed tradition. So that would be
maybe if I showed Jewish scriptures
like
one day.
Basically like your original Protestants. So the guys like Martin Luther and John Calvin, some of these guys who initially came out of it. Now Protestants devolved more and more to where like now it's like, what does it mean to be Protestant? Well, like 90% of the time it means to be a Zionist, like, you know what I mean? You walk in, you might see a cross, but you'll definitely see an Israeli flag, like, which is a bummer. But some of the more old school Protestants are like, no, I don't actually want to do the mega church thing and the fog machines and the laser lights and the Zionist rallies, for Israel and blah, blah, blah. But no, I love Catholics. But I do disagree with some of these things. And I think, some of the original reformers, maybe they weren't right about everything, but I think they had some legitimate criticisms, and that's kind of where I am. So that's kind of where I am in that neck of the woods in the larger Christian scope. One of the big arguments, intramural debate over the last few years was over, and I thought the whole thing was stupid. And I said so multiple times, got myself in a bit of trouble, but the whole debate was over whether or not Christian culture in America at large was a positive or negative. And there was a whole lot of guys in my camp saying, well, it's really a negative because really you want people, you actually kind of want, you want this perfect religious neutrality like the absence of religion. And if you have a godless culture and a godless country and a godless state, that's actually really, really good, because then it's not going to influence people. So you won't have just cultural Christians. But if you ever get a Christian, you'll probably get a lot less of them. But if you ever get...
Look at this. That's funny. I'm looking through the... Oh, shit. How's this? There it is. Look, first comment. What the hell is this? Have you not seen this man wear a bloody shirt and mock Erica Kirk to spread hate? You're a hypocrite. Let's see. What else is... Nobody's saying anything. Nobody cares. I'm the only one. 100 likes. Wow. From 2 o'clock today. Nobody cares about this this story but me. In fact, I don't know how much more of this I can listen to, because I already heard exactly what I expected to hear. He's high on Christ, yeah.
With really bad...
You ever get one, they'll really mean it, and they'll be genuine and this, that, and the other. And I understand the argument on its face.
His skits are ass. There's this video now, super chats were coming in at the stream today about this inquiry, rape gang in England, queer inquiry. And there's this Jewish girl like laughing about it or something that everybody's retweeting. I want to play. I haven't seen it yet.
I understand. I don't think it's a stupid argument. I just vehemently disagree. But then there's all these cases of I forget who it was. It might have been Richard Dawkins or Stephen Hawkins, one of those known atheists.
Yeah. Epstein Island or atheist.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It was one of those renowned atheist guys, and he had like one of his lead henchmen, like one of his premier assistants who would be, on the show with him or helping him write a book or something like that, doing lectures and stuff. One of his main guys, he in 2020, because of COVID, was like, I'm getting out of Dodge. Like they were in a deep blue city, in a blue state, all that kind of stuff, with the most stringent lockdowns and most ridiculous tyrannical policies. And he was like, forget that. So for personal liberty's sake, nothing religious, but just for his own liberty and sanity, he's like, I'm going to a place that has the least of these draconian lockdowns, period, which just so happened to be, a small podunk town in a deep red state, and you know how that goes. So he did that. Are we
still talking COVID lockdowns? 6 years ago called, they want their content talking points back.
And then again, it wasn't really religion guiding him, but he and his wife were like, after they'd been there for a few months, 6 months or whatever, and he gave this whole story, his personal testimony. They were like, yeah, we love our town and we've got a lot of freedom. We've got some land and we're living the good life, but we're kind of lonely, and they're like, where do people go in this town to make friends? Well, in that town, you go to church. That's what you do. It's an older way of life. And in that particular town, Hicks from the sticks, salt of the earth, blue collar, like really just like the sweetest people on God's green earth. They don't just go to church. In a town like that, you go to a cowboy church. I don't know if you've ever heard of these.
What's it mean again?
Cowboy church is just like, it's a subset of evangelical churches where people, like, it's exactly what it sounds like. People wear their cowboy hats and their boots and spurs, might even ride their horse to church, and they're just Southern cowboys, but theologically, it's not like they're preaching the gospel of cowboys. Like theologically, it's a Christian church that preaches the gospel.
Dude, this is the worst content ever. No wonder it has 100 likes. Okay, let's listen to this girl. Donna Rachel. Look at her profile picture. I see the resemblance. Honestly, see the resemblance. I wonder if she just changed this to right now because everybody's retweeting her. British Jew, not going anywhere. Elon wants me in jail. I guess he doesn't really care about grooming gang survivors. Let's see what she says. Everybody's retweeting her and talking trash. Talking about this paper the government released about 250,000 rapes of girls in the UK. Without even listening to her, it's already awful. The physiognomy already is telling me. Oh yeah, we disavow the hot payment rule. She did it herself. I don't have to disavow. Look at that face, like the fish.
The Rape Gang Inquiry report is out. And I'm going to try not to laugh because it feels mean. I haven't read the whole thing. It's 219 pages. It's only just come out a couple of hours ago. And Okay, so this time last year, I went to Alistair Harrison, and I explained to him that in order for the report to stand up to scrutiny when it was released, it needed a proper methodology, and it needed a proper what are they called? Terms of reference. Okay. And that he needed somebody to create that, preferably with somebody with expertise. Although I said, I mean, I have some expertise being a journalist and having written reports. I was happy to do that kind of work. But ideally, it needed to be somebody who actually had, like, you know, proper grounding in things like statistical analysis and research methods and all that kind of stuff, right? So so I actually wasn't going to do it myself. I was going to find people who do know how to do that thing, but I was going to at least steer it because I know what's kind of meant to you know, be there. Obviously none of that got done because Alistair Harrison said to me, we're not going to pay you. And I said, okay, but you still need someone to do all this stuff or you'll just get ripped apart. And he said, don't worry, we've got a lawyer on it who's going to write it for free. Now, it turns out...
I don't understand why everybody's so mad already. Was it just because she was, like, smiling or laughing in the beginning? But that doesn't mean... Is she laughing because she thinks the rapes, all the girls getting raped are funny? Like, or is it something else? That's not the context. Okay, still 4 minutes to go, but so far, I don't understand why anybody's mad.
Free. They had Josh Firm, who's from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, not a lawyer, and Charlie Downs and Harrison Pitt, who I believe are also not lawyers.
Like, as a Jewish woman, wouldn't she also not like lots of Muslims?
They also haven't done their research either. Because on page 11, for example, we find the following. In each of these areas, the same tactics were used. Girls as young as 11, ... were trafficked across county lines. County lines are phone lines. And you don't even have to do a lot of digging to find that out, right? Literally, all you have to do is Google what is a county line, and it will tell you that county lines are the way that urban...
She's kvetching over the semantics of 11-year-old girl being trafficked. Oh, it's a county line. Oh, that's only where the phone line is. What? What?
Drug dealers get their drugs out into more rural areas. They have phone lines that people can call to get drugs. Those are county lines. So you cannot traffic somebody over a county line unless you're trafficking them over a phone line, which I guess is technically possible if you're also selling them on a phone line.
That's why people are mad?
Phone, but that's not what they mean here, right? So if they haven't understood the basics of how
even the Jews got British
drug
teeth.
Network works...
Even the Jewish girls end up having British-looking teeth in England.
In this country, then they have absolutely no hope of understanding grooming gangs, because grooming gangs are criminal cartel enterprises.
What?
That is the grooming gang, right? It's a criminal gang.
So is she... sounds there like she's anti-grooming gang.
Two are very, very closely aligned. Where you get drugs, you get grooming gangs, and vice versa. This is exactly what Alexis J was talking about in her 2014...
When you get foreigners, you get grooming gangs.
12 years ago, report on Rotherham, the really famous one that everybody knows about, because that's what got this whole thing kind of off and running.
Rotterdam, yeah, that's the big... Okay? That's where the big scandal was.
That was the report that came out of Andrew Norfolk's reporting, which obviously started in 2011.
She's hand-rubbing.
He made a big noise about Rotherham. The council came under scrutiny, and then Alexis J was hired to write her report. And she has a whole chapter in her report that just talks about a woman named Angie Heel. Angie Heel was hired in 2002, I believe, by the police, the South Yorkshire Police, I believe it's called. It was in Rotherham. To look at actually drugs, right? And what she found very, very quickly was that there were a lot of vulnerable children attached to the drugs trade. And so she went to the police at that point and said, hey, if you want to be properly safeguarding children, then you need to look at this connection with drugs. And they ignored her. They actually buried the report. That's
Seems
why
to me like the giggle in the beginning was just like she thought the report wasn't good enough or had flaws or something. That's the vibe I'm getting so far. I'm just trying to call balls and strikes and see it like I see it.
Them of looking the other way and being institutionally complicit. So that got buried. Then she released another report in 2003.
Maybe there's
another
more
one in
about her,
2005,
more
and then
backstory
she quit
or something I'm
because
missing.
nobody was listening to her and nothing was getting done about it. So Alexis J identified that as long ago as 2002, the Rotherham trade could have been stopped if the police and the councils had looked at the connection between drugs and children who were being groomed. None of that, I'm going to assume from that line in the Rape Gang Inquiry Report, has made it into the Rape Gang Inquiry Report. Because if it had, they would know that county lines are phone lines and not county demarcation lines, and therefore you don't get trafficked across them. I'm going to leave this video here because I will start banging my head against the desk. But I hope this gives you some idea of how little research these guys have done. They've also put a whole load of stuff in there about the Muslims and how awful the Muslims are, but in really, really vague terms. Everywhere that there are Muslims, you get these problems. Well, there are 2 billion Muslims on the planet. I don't think it's literally everywhere. But anyway, that's a story for another day. See you later.
So sweeping that it's like majority Muslims that are doing this. That's probably why they're mad. But she also said like
well, there are 2 billion Muslims on the
they said it was Muslims too vague for her.
Everywhere that there are Muslims, you get these problems. Well, there are 2 billion Muslims on the planet. I don't think it's literally everywhere, but
well, how about every place in the UK where there's tons of Muslims, this ends up happening? Is that fair enough? Nobody says that every Muslim around the world is running rape gangs. All right, let's see the quotes though. Millennial Woe says, it's a shame those girls didn't have a special police force dedicated to protecting them on the basis of their ethnicity. 250,000 young white girls raped, physically cannot contain her glee. I didn't see her as gleeful that they were raped. I don't know if that's fair. A Jewish woman laughing at the mass rape of countless... Dude, is it just me, or did she not like giggle because she was like critical of some minutia semantics, that the research in the report wasn't good enough or something? That's the vibe I got. A Jewish woman laughing at the mass rape of countless British children. Roald Dahl. John Doyle. Imagine how fun it must be. Get together, drink some beers, and then publicly accuse women like this of witchcraft. I mean, it seems somewhat like a witch hunt to me right now, to be honest. Imagine how fun it must be. These people just want to imagine all the pagan girls throughout history that they accused of being witches and then murdered them. So Christian of you. So Christian of you, John Doyle. She's paid by Reform. Oh, she's a counselor. Whatever that means. She seems to think it's really, really funny.
the Rape Gang Inquiry Report is out. And I'm going to try not to laugh because it feels mean.
Now, there was a failure right across all aspects of the state. Police reportedly ignored or destroyed evidence and criminalized.
She's not laughing like, ha ha, all the white girls are getting raped. She's laughing like, oh, it's so, these people in these reports are not good enough. That's the vibe I got. I don't know, guys. Why did you swap your rings in the middle of the video? Juden, says Zoomer historian. Laughing about the grooming gooning gang. Laughing about the grooming gang report. Absolutely despicable. Yes, she is. All right, I'm sorry. I mean, she's ugly and I probably don't like her, but to be fair, that giggle seemed to be about flaws she saw in the report, not she thinks it's funny 11-year-old girls getting raped. That's not the vibe I got. But whatever.
Bad body odor. You're naturally
gospel of Jesus Christ with a cowboy aesthetic. Right? So it's more so just the style, not so much the beliefs. So they go to the local cowboy church, literally just to make friends, just so that they're not lonely. But in that, they hear the gospel, and they hear it again, and they hear it again. And lo and behold, shocker, eventually they're like, yeah, I think we believe that. And they become Christians. And so my whole point is that
you hear a lie enough times in a row, and everybody around you repeats the lie, and then you start believing it. You're a gullible sheep.
Good argument. So one of the reasons I became a Christian, so I became wise to spiritual realities and religious realities. But why opting for this religion? Because I wasn't raised in a Muslim nation or in Israel, Judaism, or a lot of it's atheism in Israel, or this, that, or the other. I wasn't raised in India, with this religion or that. I was raised in the West. I was raised in America. The predominant cultural religion in America is Christianity. And when I began to ask some of these, when I came of age and the SHIT hit the fan for me, and I asked those existential questions, it was
always when shit hits the fan.
That background, that culture.
I wonder what happened to him.
Most available. It was there. Yeah. It was there.
Shit hit the fan, and then he decided to be a pastor and get tithes and then be an influencer online. I want to hear his conversion story. Shit hit the fan, and that's when you became a Christian? It's always when people are vulnerable and desperate, they seem to find Jesus.
And that's why I actually think that's a really good argument. That's why I advocate strongly for
well, that's weird.
The fact that America, even though so much of it has been eroded, but whatever we can keep intact of America having a cultural Christianity, even if it doesn't mean true Christianity.
Parisha Time says he hit adolescence, realized he was gay, had to pray it away. We've seen he was a musician. He has a crazy song of him singing. I could find it probably. You guys want to see his song? I'll get it.
For the majority of people,
since he's too much of a pussy to debate
pieces, the handles being present, so that for each person, when they do have
music
those
videos.
Tests of faith, when they do have my kid just died, or this disaster just happened, and the questions are there on the forefront of their mind, that the most prevalent nearby answer, like even in the architecture, the way that towns were designed originally in our country was, what do you put at the center of the town? Well, a courthouse and a church. Yeah. How do you build it? Well, it has a bell tower and a steeple. Why? So that wherever I am in the town, I can physically see and locate the church, so that when something happens, I know where to run. Yeah. And I think that that's like actually beautiful. And you can be intellectual and sophisticated and mock it as primitive or stupid, or I think it's great. I think it's really great that people in this country, when all of a sudden they're asking the deepest questions and they feel as though they have no hope, there's this underlining culture of Christianity built into the fabric of every piece of our society that points towards this. So if I'm thinking there must be a God, my first thought is, it's probably Jesus, not Buddha. And so I'm going to try that first. Yeah. And I thank God for that.
And the picture you paint
for that. So just because you happen to be in a Christian country, you believe that lore. That is so weak. It's crazy that these guys are like admitting this. They're posting their L's. They're admitting how simple-minded they are. Here's Joel. Here's Joel in his past life as a piano man. He jams. writing a song. They were about to graduate from their church's youth group. They're in the church band. He's writing a song with his piano partner, and then one hand touches the other hand. And then he gets a boner, and then he realized shit just hit the fan. He starts to believe in Jesus.
We all just keep on running, keep on running.
He felt the Holy Spirit. Just keeps on running, man. Okay. All right. There's more. There's more.
You paint, it's very different than a tyrannical imposing of Christianity on Americans, where it's like, you go to this church or we're cutting your heads off. So what I hear you describe is something far more supportive than that. I know for me, one of my objections I had to work through was unfortunately seeing in some churches the same sort of corruption that's just power hungry, child sex scandals, same thing we hear about in the government, all these other power hungry entities, hearing about those in churches. So that was like a bit of, like with the Catholicism, it's like, God help us with that. But being able to, one, acknowledge like this happens. So like, isn't it all like a bad thing? But understanding, no, like first off, call corruption and evil out no matter where it's at. Even if it's a guy wearing a robe, even if it's in a church, those need to be called out because the devil masquerades as an angel in disguise. Like, I think the devil's ultimate goal is to kill God. And I don't think the devil can actually do that, but what he can do is kill our receptivity to God. And a great way to do that, the devil might be evil, it's probably pretty intelligent though, is to get people to worship the devil while thinking they're worshiping God. So of course it makes sense that the devil would infect some churches. That doesn't mean the religions.
They wear medium shirts so that they can look buffer. This is a 2XL. I could show you guys 2XL. That's what we wear over here. That's how we roll. This is probably a medium or a small, my guess.
Infected.
That's right.
So I had to make that distinction. And to me, it's similar to Mark Twain's quote, the wisdom.
You know, I saw JP Sears at the farmer's market one time.
Took power in Rome. They literally did threaten to kill people for not going to church.
Yeah, I bet. I ran into this guy one time at the farmer's market, and he's like average height. That was many years ago, before his when he just started getting popular on YouTube.
To with a quote where he says, a patriot is someone who supports their country all the time and their government when they deserve it. And looking at the churches fairly literally, but very metaphorically, the government in this analogy, and understanding like, the religion and the churches, they're separate, and we all want a good government. And there's good governments out there when it comes, I don't know about literal governments, but with churches, yes. So I had to work through that objection of, first off, it's okay to call corruption in a church. It should be called out. Absolutely. And it's okay to make the distinction between the religion and the church. And when you find a church that is great,
finally found a church that he likes, Joel Webbin's church. The only church in America that's masculine and based and red-pilled.
Full. When you find a church that isn't, don't pretend it is.
Right. That's well said. Separating the institution as we find it today, its modern expression, from the actual beliefs, the theology, the doctrine, the religion itself. Because if the church is synonymous, like a 1-to-1 ratio with Christianity itself, then that's kind of depressing.
It is. I'll tell you something that pisses me off, and it needs to be called out, so I call it out. But like, have you seen any of these clips of President Trump's White House religious advisor, Paula White?
Paula White is...
Oh, yeah, good one. Okay, here's the other clip, his other song.
Rosy, and everything's rosy because you know.
This is his original song. Listen to the lyrics. Oh, do we have closed captions? Let's do those. Maybe that'll work.
Your love is like when it's cold outside, but you're alright. You got your clothes out to dry. You're feeling all cozy.
and everything's rosy, cause you know that he knows you. You know that you'll be okay. Your love is like watching Saturday morning cartoons. Ironically, you're always asleep till noon. But there's something about Bugs Bunny, well, he's always so funny. You laugh the day away. Your love is like my favorite bottle of wine. It's new each day and gets better with time. As I switch it around and let it go down, well, slowly washes all my worries away. Oh, your love is like a Christmas tree. You're the star on top, shining bright for me. When the lights go down and no one else is around, well, your love is the only thing I see.
What's more cringe, this or Stu Peters' former rap career as Focus? What is more cringe? Dude, he almost made it. He would have been the next Michael Bublé. What does he sound like?
Your love is like, oh no, something's gotta change. Something's gotta give.
James Blunt. Yeah, Stu's
Won't someone stop this pain and teach us how to live? Oh, cause people everywhere.
This is the new right. This is masculine Christianity right here.
Looking out for number one, forgetting how to care.
James Blunt.
Oh, forgotten how to love.
Creed but gayer.
Yes, well, we all just keep on running, running, keep on running. Oh, we keep on running, running, keep on running, yeah.
I like the jacket.
Keep on running,
All right, we heard this song already.
running,
You can't run anymore. Keep running to Jesus. Keep running to Rabbi Jesus. What are we running to? We're running from the devil right into the arms of Rabbi Yeshua. Moshiach, Yeshua HaMashiach. Amalek says, my dog does not like this. He started going crazy. All right, let's see. What am I? Oh, this is the wrong one. Hold on, let me get to this one.
I mean, she is objectively, like theologically speaking, she's objectively a heretic.
Yeah.
She, like, there were times, I'm not saying this should happen, but there were times within Christian history that she would be burned at the stake.
Yeah.
Like she's a heretic.
I'd believe that. And
fuck you.
That might be the devil masquerading as an angel in disguise. I mean,
yeah, it's not actually based to burn people at the stake for being heretics.
I've seen clips where she's doing kind of like an infomercial on social media. She's saying, you send in $1,000. What you get in return is I send you 7 prayers. And it's like, yeah, I don't even think you're praying for me. And if you are, it's motivated.
Here's James Blunt. Let's see if it sounds the same. He's running back to the closet. Keep running back to the closet. You're beautiful.
An angel. Of that I'm sure. She smiled at me on the subway.
I don't know about that.
Motivated by the wrong reasons, as she's on the pulpit talking about, God told me I need a new private jet because that's going to serve God more. It's like, well, what if you were honest and said, I want a private jet. I'm going to pressure you people here to give me your money because I want that private jet. It would be less corrupt because it would at least be honest.
Right.
But anyway,
at that point, I mean, that's the irony is like, Catholics aren't doing this today, but at the time, one of the big, things was indulgences. So like Tetzel was a priest, Catholic priest that was going around. There were a few of them, but he was probably the most infamous, going around soliciting indulgences, monetary payment in order to get people's loved ones who had passed away out of purgatory. So this interim place between heaven.
Doc Jake Holiday says he sounds like a karaoke runner-up. Yeah, it didn't really work out. The music career, being a recording artist, didn't really pan out. This was the next best thing. Couldn't make it in Hollywood. He became E-Crusader. Internet E-Crusader. He's got the weirdest looking nose. Do you see the nose? Definitely not Jewish. Does not look like a Jewish nose. Looks like he got clavicular nose job.
In hell, where they had to, Jesus paid for your sin, but not really, or at least not completely. There's still an overhang of sin that you have to absolve yourself, and you're going to do so by being purified in purgatory, absolved from your sin as you suffer there. And you have a great aunt, and you have a grandma, and you have a mother, and you have maybe a child.
What else are we going to watch?
Away. And he was literally preaching sermons, this Catholic priest, saying, can you hear their screams? Can you hear, the clawing?
Chat, did anybody see HT on with I Hypocrite today? It wasn't work. I was at the gym and I tried to tune into it live, and the Rumble live stream wasn't working properly. But it kept repeating one part where he was like about to get into the CQ. Anybody watch that? How did that go? Is that worth watching? Did it get contested?
Of your loved ones screaming out in agony, and if you would just give some money, and these are the poorest of poor people, these are peasants, and so they were making the decision: will I feed my kids tonight, or will I get great Aunt Sally out of torment? And that's the choice set before him. And so it's on that backdrop that like Martin Luther is like, yeah. And then fast forward, right? Because it's not like Protestants. I'm not going to say the Protestants haven't made their own mistakes, because they absolutely have. But the stark irony is that now Protestants are far more notorious, commonly known for emotionally manipulative sermons to get people's cash than Catholics. And that was one of the main things that Protestants even came into existence because of, was that critique. And here we are. So evil can take all shapes, forms, and sizes. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. But I think being able to bifurcate between the person, the man, and the message, right? The religion and the religious institution. Yeah. The difference between the two. Because if it was just that, going back to COVID, the very thing that woke so many people up, here's the sad reality. Most churches were hand in glove. Working with the government to push the vax on their congregants. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the point I was making. Look at this. RT, Iran deal officially ends U.S. empire. Tucker. Why is he so happy about his Duganist multipolar end of America empire? RT's wet dream has been realized. No, it hasn't actually. They're just saying that. Hear what this dude has to say.
Acknowledged that Iran is on Friday. With this, the United States has officially acknowledged that Iran is a player. And that changes everything. In the same way that the 1956 Suez Crisis, another crisis, another war over a narrow waterway through which commerce flows, ended the British Empire. Now, of course, you could argue the British Empire really kind of ended with the armistice in 1918 at the end of the First World War. You could.
Thank you, Wink. He says, I Hypocrite talks a lot of shit about anti-Christian to his Hugbox audience, but suddenly doesn't want to debate when pressed by people. It was pretty weak. Okay. That's what I figured.
Definitely argue that it was done by 1945 when they, air quotes now, won World War II. But like a lot of fading empires, it wasn't obvious to the rest of us, or there was muscle memory involved. And Britain had ruled the world. And so it was fading, but not dead. But in the space of a very short period of time with that fairly complex crisis, Britain was done. Why? Because in the Suez Crisis of 1956, Britain made it really clear that no matter what they said or wanted, they couldn't actually affect the outcome. They didn't have the power to settle things the way they wanted. The U.S. did. And so America, maybe not formally, but certainly practically, took Britain's place as the ruler of the Middle East. With this, the United States has shown that it does not have, despite possessing the world's best or biggest or certainly most generously funded military, does not have the military power to impose its will on the 34th biggest economy in the world.
Dude, why is he trying to frame this into a big L? The Zionists are not happy about it. Trump's bragging about his big deal. I don't see this deal as the American empire is over. I see them trying to spin any news story into their Duganist wet dream and RT fantasy about their multipolar world and the fall of the West, the modern day Edom Roman Empire. Iran deal officially ends U.S. empire. Yeah, we're so ended. In your mind, in your dreams, RT, are we ended because of this deal? What? Because we didn't just bomb them endlessly forever for 20 years? We didn't drop a nuke on them. Instead, we said, all right, we bombed you enough. We took out a bunch of your shit. Now let's make a deal, and you better play ball. Like, that makes sense to me. RT slant. Look, here's another one they're posting from. Funny how RT always seems to love what Tucker has to say and is doing.
To Israel, by the way. It's appropriate that we release the agreement, and we did send a copy to Israel, by the way.
We sent Israel a copy of the agreement. Well, you sent them a copy, did you? You BCC'd them? We just reached the outline of a peace agreement with the country we are fighting with, Israel, without consulting Israel, bitch. That's exactly what that means. Shh, adults are talking. At one point, he said, I just think it's just too much. I think going forward, we may leave the fight against Hezbollah to Jelani, who runs Syria. Now, Jelani, of course, is a former Al-Qaeda leader. He's just a more reasonable person. If you're looking for humane treatment of civilians, you got to go to the Al-Qaeda guy, not the Israeli prime minister. That's what the president said. It's unbelievable.
It's appropriate that we release the agreement.
That was about my analysis of it. It is true. Trump is going God mode. We may be seeing the turn, the anti-Edom, anti-Israel turn. Oh, can you imagine the Jewish kvetching when that happens? All right, I'll look for something else to watch.
So I was in California.
We'll do this in the meantime.
At the time. Now, our church was meeting in a public school, and because we didn't have a building, and we were, of course, in California, we were in an instant kicked out, and so we couldn't meet there. And I remember calling other pastor friends and stuff that owned their own building that they voluntarily, they weren't kicked out, they shut their doors. And I was saying, you are not using your church. Could we maybe use it? And them saying no, because maybe we would get cooties on the pews or something like that, that would hang over when they resumed meeting, like 7 years from then. But I mean, it sounds funny now, but those are literally the conversations that that were being had. And so we couldn't meet. And so for us, I believe it was either 4 or 5 weeks, I can't remember, but we missed 4 or 5 Sundays. And because we couldn't meet, but then when we could, we did. But I remember one of my first thoughts was like, this is going to be like a moment in the sovereignty of God, him setting the stage, setting like contrast. It's like God is setting the backdrop with like this black velvet, so that the church in this moment is going to shine like a brilliant diamond. Like you go and purchase a diamond, and they're not showcasing a diamond.
Dude, this is the worst. Top of like
this is just a silver, like page of paper with glitter. Like no, they want the contrast. So it's
talking to talk.
Sparkling diamond on the black velvet so that it shines more brightly. And so one of my first thoughts was this is going to be this moment where the church is going to be able to kind of, for lack of a better phrase, strut its stuff, show off. And it did not. Turns out the church was basically just, which way is the wind blowing? Sell out. What Fauci? What did you say? Yeah, okay, we'll do even more of that. We're going to make Fauci look like a liberal, or a moderate, I should say. Like we're going to, and it was so sad. But it was one of those things like we were talking about in our first episode, like room to apologize. So we were meeting with him, masquerading as an angel of light.
And you'd say, why would they do that to children and babies?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's because they want to torture children and babies. I think it's because they want to torture and kill God. And kill God. And these are the purest expressions, earthly expressions of God.
If you can't kill the infinite God. So Satan wants to kill God. You're absolutely right. But he knows he can't kill the infinite God. So the next best thing is to kill the image of God in his finite creatures. Yeah. It's almost like, imagine if you're living in Rome, in its heyday, and there's some.
I was wondering, I'm like, are these guys going to talk about Epstein stuff too? Are we going to ball bank account Max? Is that our proof of the devil is real? Is ball bank accounts?
Draconian emperor that you hate. It's like you can never get to him,
but you can get to his children.
Right, you can get to his children, but it's like he's too powerful. He has too much defense and militia and soldiers defending him at any given moment. You can't harm him directly, but he also has his image, statues all over the empire. And in the middle of the night, just because you hate him, you can go and deface his image in one of these. And I think, like God, his image isn't in statues; it's in us, and his most untarnished image, children. And so to harm and deface the image of God, where it's seen most purely.
I heard Webben has 5 kids, though. That's a big W.
Direct, compelling proof of a Satan that you can possibly find.
I would agree. And I also think all the innocent people in the Epstein files, which apparently is 100% of everybody in the Epstein files, according to our government. You're insane if you question that, and you're certainly not a Trump supporter anymore if you question that. But with all the, I forgot where I was going with that. I distracted myself.
You were saying that innocence, all the people in the Epstein files, something with children probably.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No worries.
It doesn't matter.
No worries.
It's going to be a brilliant
point. And that's why people have to stay tuned in the next episode.
Where JP comes out of his Biden cognitive decline, ladies and gentlemen.
But it's so funny, but we've been saying it for a while now, but it's just crazy that wanting to release the Epstein files, wanting no new war, that now is being against MAGA.
It is, yeah. Here's what I was going to say. The people enabling the criminals, the innocent criminals in the Epstein files, where they're doing the most godless thing, violating children. That's enough. Right. Then you extrapolate that and realize, well, it's the devil actually violating God.
Yes.
For that to be enabled,
dude,
it should be a display.
Epstein trying to get massage and have sex with some underage girls is not the devil trying to hurt God. It's some pervert. Come on. That's your proof? Epstein wanting massages and sex with young models? That's your proof that God's real? Oh, it's just because he's trying to get at God. Come on, dude. This type of lens, looking at the world with this type of lens isn't going to get you anywhere right.
Display of godlessness and Satanism that should make the hair on your arms stand up. And I hope it does. And I know it does.
Grace says he won't let his wife read books without his approval first. Really? He said that? I mean, there could be some really subversive books women can be reading, though. Maybe.
You and I and so many people watching this. But the fact that those criminals are not, they're not just not prosecuted, they're literally
Grace,
protected
you're not allowed to watch
by
any
our
other
government.
podcast but
I hate
mine,
to say
Grace.
it. I hate to sound like a paranoid guy. That's how godless our government is.
Grace, no other live streamers but me are you allowed to watch, okay? This is your husband speaking. Your husband has spoken. It goes God, Hashem, Yeshua, your husband, and you. All right? Only watching my show.
And I think that's how run by the devil our government is. And I don't say that out of a sense of doom. I say that out of a sense of that's a very painful, crappy reality to acknowledge. But we got to.
Grace, his wife is lucky that he allows her to know how to read it all. Okay, that's good for a Christian, for trad Christian life. If she could even read it all, that's already a blessing.
Acknowledge it, or else nothing changes. Can we ever vote our way out of this? I don't know. I hope so. But voting our way out of it won't do it alone. We have to be the change. Yep. And I think that starts absolutely at home with mothers and fathers, where we need to realize, like, if our school is like, yeah, we did a drag show. It's fine.
Don't disobey.
If you're not going
Grace,
to the school,
listen to
if you're
your
not
husband.
instantly taking your kids out of the school and going to the school board meetings,
She reads it to him.
And representing yourself and representing your children, you are doing a micro expression of what our government is doing with protecting the Epstein criminals. You're enabling godlessness that violates your children as a way of violating God.
Just the worst.
And we parents
harsh on these people, because I know for a fact he's a liar. Only me and him know if what he's saying is true.
So remember, I watched the Amon Hillman thing last night, and he was doing the AI images and attacking Neil. So Neil's doing a response stream tonight. He's got 3 hours in, 760 people watching.
True, or if what I'm saying is true.
Yeah. Well, it was a 5-person class, but yeah.
What checks out?
Yeah, I mean, it checks out. I mean, it checks out, everybody.
It wasn't doing one-on-ones anymore. He didn't have any one-on-one
matches up. I agree with the guy that was
at a college. But what yeah, you know what? I'll tell you.
Of the Greek alphabet.
Neil just brings
Languages
on
on here.
guy after guy.
Closely, not even closely, just loosely, you will see his guides and ascended masters at higher selves, whoever they are, which they claim to be all of these.
Bro, ascended masters. He must watch Carlin.
And I sent all my lackeys after you to say you had no balls. I thought it would get me on your show.
I
it kind of worked. It kind of did work.
What here? And we'll kind of go through. He's not everything. Propositions. Let's break down every fucking word in Mark 14 and let's translate it together.
Let's do it.
So we need to be warriors. Like a warrior is a crusader of God, for God, that protects God's children. And your literal children are most in your domain. If you have more to give, like, cool, let's give to the greater community. But
let's start at home.
Man, as parents, we have to realize those are droplets of God. It's not just something to coast through. Everywhere we look, there are satanic influences on our children, potential shows to watch, things going on at schools, social media apps, and hell, even other friends and families.
That's right.
That family might need to be off limits.
That's right. So well said. I'm encouraged to hear you say that. It doesn't mean we hate anybody, but yeah, it's like my kids are too important. The man who fights, it's not out of hatred for what's in front of him, before him, but out of love for what's behind him. G.K. Chesterton said that. I'm paraphrasing. But it's not that when it comes to immigration, it's like I just see that night thinking about how much I hate the country of Haiti. No, but I love America.
Yeah,
I love my kids, and I want them to have some semblance of the childhood and the country that I got to grow up in. I want that for them, and so that family that I don't hate, I don't have any kind of hostility or aversion towards, but it's not that I hate them; it's that I love my kids so much. I'm sorry, but I can't risk it. If I was, and I don't have authority, it's outside of my jurisdiction. So like, if your kids were my kid,
we want to protect our kids from subversive stuff too, but it's not satanic and it doesn't prove that Jesus is real. Michael Tracy to throw Webbin's door and pile drive JP for this law. I haven't seen a tweet from Michael Tracy in forever. I know he didn't block me. The algorithm must be screwing us. I know it's been screwing me recently.
And I could just say, hey, we're not doing the iPad. We're not, but it's like, but if your 7-year-old has a phone, an iPhone with access to the internet, because it's your 7-year-old, I can't, they're not my kid. It would be wrong of me to tell them what they're allowed to do.
Yeah.
So then the only choice you're leaving left to me to be able to have, continue to have some kind of authority with my children is I have to say that my children can't be with your children.
Yeah.
And it's a weird, it's like, but you're actually putting me into that position.
Yeah. And we have to be willing to be perceived as that judgmental jerk of a parent, because we are the immune systems of our child's minds and hearts. And let's not fall for the temptation of weaponized compassion. Where it's like, are you saying that family's not good enough for your child? Have some compassion, this tough things going on. The parents just want a break, or let them do this and that. No rules at their house. It's like, yeah, I am saying that's not good enough for my children. I can have compassion and understanding and empathy for their situation. That's fine. But that doesn't take the place of, and I protect my kids. It's not, that teacher who's sexually confused and knows other sexually confused dancers that do drag shows want to make $300 to the day to bring this cultural enrichment to the school. Can't you have compassion for the teacher? Well, whether I can or can't doesn't matter. And even if I do, level of protection still has, I will not compromise my child as a way of manipulating you to see me as more compassionate and more tolerant.
That's right.
My immune discernment as a parent for my children's minds and hearts doesn't operate on tolerance. Right. Nor do I want to keep my children in this bubble.
You know what you guys should be protecting your children from? Jesus and the church. That would be my advice. You're worried about satanic influence? Keep them away from the blood magic, cannibalism, Old Testament God of the Bible. You want to not screw up your kids? Don't scare them that they're going to go to hell if they don't worship some dude that died for them 2,000 years ago. That's my advice. You want to protect your children, the innocence of your children? Do that. Don't lie to them that evolution is fake and Adam and Eve is real and dinosaurs aren't real and dragons are and all the stupid shit that Christians tell their kids.
Where I'm the helicopter parent, now we're suffocating the child. So it's a balance, but understanding there's some things that are me as the immune system. Yeah, I'm very intolerant too.
Yep. Yeah, gentleness towards the wolves is cruelty towards the sheep.
Hey, that's a great way to say it.
Yep. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it. And we will see the listener in the next episode.
Thank you, brother.
Oh my God, so lame. 100 likes. That was so lame. You guys see this guy that died? I've been watching some of his. It's been all over my timeline. This guy that died in the helicopter crash.
Babe, you too controlling. I'ma feed you to the wolves when you get nasty back at me. But baby, don't distract me. I'm a goner. I lost her. Like, why the hell you wanna play me that way? You're bad, babe. You double-faced entendre. Life goes on and 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 on. On and 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 on. On and 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 on. On and on and on and on and on and on and on. Babe, you best believe it. I'ma rip you up to pieces.
Jews killed him? Really? No. No, I saw a post about that. They were like, he just broke a contract with some like Jewish Israeli like drone maker, owned his contract, or it's something crazy like that.
I'm a lover, not a fighter, but I light this place on fire. I want it, I want it.
Michael
But
Jackson
baby,
did.
at least I'm honest. I get tired of explaining as these seasons keep on changing. Life goes on and 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 on.
Yeah, I heard this song too. I didn't recognize the name when he died. But I like this song too. Yeah, helicopters. What did he say about Mark? That he's an alien? He said crazy stuff all the time.
Work all day, and then I wake up, work all day. Work all day, and then I wake up, work all day, and then I wake up, work all day, and then I wake up, work all day.
That's his most popular video. That had 483 million views 5 years ago. This is 400 million views 3 years ago. Boy Summer. Yeah, I couldn't hear one word in that song. Oh, he directed that one. That was pretty good camera work. Trump's asked about the school of 100 children. I missed that.
Conflict with Iran. Can you now now that you're approaching a new phase in this conflict with Iran, can you now say whether you will hold anyone in your administration accountable for the strike on a school that killed more than 100 children on the first day of the war?
No, if it was a fault, and as you know, that's under investigation. It's such a strange question to be asked at this state, because you're talking about a long time ago, but nobody did that on purpose. I guess you'd have to say about them, what about the thousands of soldiers that they blew up when they opened their car door? What about the thousands of people that were killed by Iran? No, mistakes are made. The war is nasty. But I know it's under investigation, and I could have a report for you tomorrow, or I'd ask tomorrow. I would ask Pete.
Sure.
I would ask
Pete. I'll get that right away to you, sir, to the reporter. It's only been, months and months and months, but tomorrow it'll be ready. It's like, oh, thank you. Who's that?
Crazy Pills 22 cents $0 on a Crazy Pills 22 White Boy Summer FTW. Midsummer Asatru.
Oh yeah, feels like a midsummer holiday coming. Feels like summer. I feel that.
Tomorrow, or I would ask Pete Hegseth that question, because they have it under investigation. Please.
Yeah, pass the buck.
Now that you're
pass the buck over. He's like, why would you bring that up? That's old news. That was months ago.
Investigation, and I could have a report for you tomorrow, or I would ask Pete.
A report for you. I'll have it on your desk by the morning, sir.
They have it under investigation, please.
Now that you're approaching a new phase in this conflict with
No, they're not. They will not say. You're not going to get that. We got here. Trump thanks Vladimir Putin.
China, and the other thing, I want to thank China, President Xi. I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say it. Somebody would say, oh, that's terrible. He's thinking.
It is true. It is true. China and Russia didn't really help Iran. They were pretty neutral. Could have got really ugly.
He's thanking President Xi of China. Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. They have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said, I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what?
I would really appreciate, I told Putin, I'd really appreciate your guns that don't work that good, but they work a little bit. I really appreciate if you don't give them to Iran, please. Thank you.
To Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them, because they made it a lot better. The other thing, I want to thank China, President Xi.
Minus their satellites.
And he stayed neutral, totally neutral. And I appreciate it. And I want to thank Vlad.
He appreciates it. I think I got another one here. Let's see. Where was it? It was, where'd it go? He said they were about out of oil reserves. Is that why he had to make this deal? How's my mic sound tonight, guys? By the way, I've been talking over the music and stuff. Have you been able to hear me, or am I way louder than the?
Now, if I did the opposite, if I went out, I'm going to get bad press. I know that. Now, if I did the opposite, if I went out and continued to bomb them for another 4, just bomb the hell out of them, I'd get bad press on that. No, there's nothing I can do. But what this does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. And you're talking about
creamy
$500, $600, $700 million a day. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. That's why the world is okay. It's liquid. It's fine. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see Bedlam? So for all those so-called geniuses that want to show me how smart they are, ask them why didn't they blow up General Soleimani. Ask that of the general and a couple of other people that I like very much, but boy, are they wrong. Go ahead. How about you? I'm going to get bad press. I know that. Now, if
he's really talking like he's the Godfather now, this like whisper voice. There's Nick talking about Dan Bilzerian from the show tonight.
That don't feel this way.
I saw something about Nick getting a new camera. Is that a true thing? Does anybody know that? Makes me want to
really
get a new
believe
camera.
there are Jews out there that don't feel this way, and they need to speak up. There are Jews who understand, and I'm going to say this as a Gentile that understands, where this is going is not good for anybody. It really isn't. Jews are engendering a lot of hatred right now. And I understand if you're a Jew, I get why you would not be happy about that. Like, let's just be honest. Can we just be totally honest? Because of what Israel is doing and because of what Jewish leadership is doing, a lot of people are starting to hate Jews. It's just true. People are starting to blame Jews for everything, things they're guilty of, things they're not guilty of. There are a lot of anti-Jewish attitudes right now. Can we just say that's true? And if you're Jewish, even if you agree with some of it, you're not feeling so good. Because there's a lot of it. Jewish leadership is engendering a lot of antipathy towards Jews. And I'm sure there's a lot of Jews, they criticize what's going on as well, and they're not feeling so good about it. And I really believe there's a scenario in the future. Look, the Gentiles are not going to be as nice as me. I am actually a loving person, believe it or not. I know I come across like an edgelord or a troll. I'm a big softy. I'm a lover boy. I'm a certified lover boy. And I love everybody, and I really don't have any hatred in my heart, and I'm a true Christian. So when I say I
certified lover boy, never beating the accusations,
love Jews and I want them to be respected and have dignity, I really mean that. But the way things are going, not everybody is going to be like me. There will be other people that sound like me, and they're going to be shitting on Jews, and they're going to be criticizing Jews, and they are going to actually hate them. And they're not going to be Christian. They're not going to be sincere Christians. They're not going to be people that are fundamentally decent. They're going to be sociopaths. And whether they engender hatred or not, maybe they care.
No sociopathic Christians. Only non-Christians are sociopaths, right, Nick? Is that what you're getting out there?
Maybe they don't. Maybe they have real hatred in their bones. Maybe they're ambivalent, or I should say apathetic about the hatred they might stir up and feel no responsibility. That's going to be a problem for everybody. I don't want that to happen. You know, what I desire is that we have a solution, we have let's say a resolution where everybody is respected. What we want is our sovereignty. What we want is what is right. This country needs to work for everybody, not just for Jews. That goes without saying. And Jews that want to prevail over everybody else, that doesn't work in an open society like ours, which I actually quite like. It's actually good in some sense to have liberty. It is good in some sense to have a culture, I think, of benevolence and charity and openness. I think that's actually a good thing. But it is being ruined when one group is mercilessly trying to kill everybody and climb on top of everybody's heads to get to the top. So we have a good thing going here. I want to preserve it. And I do think that there is a place for Jews in society.
I got to get to bed.
But the way things are going, I don't think the best of each side is going to is going to take leadership here. And by that, I mean, it seems like the most aggressive and belligerent and militant Jews are becoming the loudest voices in the room. And soon it's going to be a lot of hateful people on our side that are going to become the louder voices in the room. I think about a guy like Dan Bilzerian, who's a complete ignoramus. That is the banality of evil. That is somebody that doesn't really understand these things on a deep level. He's cynical. I think he sort of has a darkened heart and a darkened mind. That's somebody you really don't want to deal with. So, anyway. So that's just a little admonition. Look, at the end of the day, the Lonsdales of the world can't win. The Lonsdales and the Bilzerians are just going to get everybody killed. So.
All right. Anybody pumped for Game of Thrones?
I really believe they're
next week. Because I want to watch what they're saying about
The Dance of the Dragons is finally upon us, and critics are not being shy about how fire it is. Here's what they've been saying about Season 3 of House of the Dragon.
Draw your sword.
Sunday.
As we all know, following the premature end of Season 2 2 years ago, some serious battles await us, and we thankfully don't have to wait long to see them unfold. According to numerous critics, the battle in the first episode is bonkers, but apparently there's a lot more to appreciate than swordplay and dragonfire. Writing for Mama's Geeky, Tessa Smith was careful not to spoil anything for us. She said, "What I can say without ruining the magic is that the storytelling features some truly shocking moments that left my jaw on the floor. The political stakes have been dialed up to an all-time high, creating a suffocating pressure cooker environment for everyone involved.
In a war, all suffer."
And it's not just the writing that wowed her, the acting is also apparently quite on point as well. She continued, "Keeping this massive engine running smoothly is the cast. The actors remain absolutely brilliant, delivering nuanced performances that anchor the fantastical elements in raw human emotion." Via her YouTube channel, Beyond the Trailer, he adds so much complexity.
Did I not warn you that you would come to this?
Praising the performances overall, she continued, "That's what makes both marginal figures like Ormond and fundamental ones like the two anti-heroines so important. Whether they provide surprise and distraction."
This movie came out at the end of last year, 0 AD. I think I played the trailer before on the stream. Is this something I want to watch? Is this something worth watching, you think? About Jesus, 0 AD.
Do you believe the prophecies?
No, I do not.
They claim a great king shall take my throne.
I love that it starts with the very beginning too. That really is the question. Do you believe the prophecies? Because that would include, that's the litmus test. Jews, Muslim, and Christians believe the prophecies. If you don't believe the prophecies, you're basically a pagan, according to them. The prophecies, as do you believe the Jewish prophets?
Do you believe the prophecies? They claim a great king shall take my throne. There's only one king.
From the Christian studio.
And it is Herod. If you wish to prove your loyalty, you know how. Tonight, darkness hides in the form of a child. Snuff out the darkness, and the light of honor will shine.
This must have been a flower. B-rated flower.
Will unleash all the powers of hell.
Who you fear he is. He is.
Messiah.
You can still choose which king to serve.
Where is he born, King of the Jews?
Salvation is not what you imagine.
No, salvation is of the Jews.
My son, I do not know what way you must carry.
The world of the
Lord, I know you have come to reveal God's deepest secret. Love is stronger.
Dune 3? Is this the real trailer?
If we have a girl, what will we name her?
Her name should be Ganima.
Ganima?
She'll need to be strong, like her mother.
Chosen.
What if it's a boy?
I would name him Leto.
Leto? Oh, the dad's name. Leto.
So he would have the wisdom of his grandfather.
War feeds on itself. The more I fight, the more our enemies fight back. I'm doing the best I can to protect my family. How did Father do it?
Your father never started a war.
That's him.
Afraid to die.
The chant.
But I must not die. Yet.
All right, I'm going to bed. That's enough. That's enough movie trailers. Oh, wait, one more. I wanted to see this too. Vance says, some people want to keep bombing Iran. Continue. Some people. We know who these some people are, Vance.
Who sometimes confuse. I do think there are people, Nora, who sometimes confuse the ends with the means. The President of the United States used diplomacy, he used economic leverage, he also used military leverage in order to ensure that Iran would have a nuclear weapon. That was the goal. I think there are some people who just want the bombing to continue, regardless of whether it accomplishes anything for Americans. That's not what the President is trying to do. He's not trying to cause misery for the people of Iran. He's trying to ensure that they don't have a nuclear weapon, and that's what we've done.
Mr. Vice.
I do think there are people.
No, it's the end of the empire. The empire has fallen because Trump made a deal. I love how Tucker says it's the end of the empire, but also he finally, put his foot down a little bit to Bibi. Trump admits he buckled to pressure of global economic collapse.
See is I didn't want to. So the one thing I didn't want to see is I didn't want to see economic catastrophe. If you kept this going, that could have happened. But all I know is every time we talked about the possibility of peace, the stock market shot up like a rocket ship. It never went down. They didn't like it. The people, the stock market is more brilliant than anybody there is, including the people on the stage, other than me, of course. Let's see. I don't know. What do you think, Scott? Is the stock market more brilliant than you?
No, sir.
Oh, that's a terrible statement. All right. The stock market is quite brilliant. And every time we said something amazing, like we're going to settle, it would go up. And every time we said something negative, like, guess what? We're not going to be able to settle, it would go down very big, Peter. Very, very.
He's up here like sweating. These guys are like, Trump, you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to manipulate the stock market with the bullshit you say.
Very big. Tells you
All for the stock market. It doesn't, but then when the stock market's down, it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything. Let me see what else Nick is saying about this here too.
I am here for it. Congratulations. I don't know about you, but I am here for it. Congratulations, Iran. You fought hard. You left it all on the field and you won. God bless the Islamic Republic of Iran. And I said it on Twitter. Iran won, Israel lost. So delicious. Laurel Loomer was in my replies. She said, Groypers are Islamists. I'm like, well, Jews lose. Groypers are Islamists? Yeah, whatever, bitch. Jews are losers. Israel are losers. Zionists are losers.
So they've been stacking up W after W after W, and they still got a bomb with Iran. They still got the bomb Iran.
Lose. Iran won. Thank you, Supreme Leader. On behalf of all Goyim of the world, on behalf of all Gentiles, Americans, Christians, thank you, Supreme Leader, and Iran. You did it. So I love to see it. Sounds like a sore loser to me. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Randy Fine, Josh Hammer, Laurel Loomer. Sounds like a lot of sore losers. I think it's over for you guys.
They are mad.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
So we're going to get into all of it. It's going to be a good show. White-pilled again. America, the great Satan, under the control of Israel, has lost. The Zionist occupation regime has lost. Israel has lost. It's a good day. Sadly, though, I don't know if this is the end of it just yet. I mean, we'll see. We don't want to count our chickens before they hatch. But
yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say, too. Obviously. He's just doing it to troll, I think. He's not being fully serious. He's just trying to, what's the word? Dap on? He's just trying to dap on Loomer.
I'm happy that Trump is leaving. So I think it's good. I'm happy that Trump is leaving the war. I'm happy that we have this agreement. And I think ultimately it's going to be a good thing. It is a good thing that all of this happened if it means we don't have to deal with Israel ever again. So the real biggest loser in all of this must be made.
But did I miss a memo? Why are we not dealing with Israel ever again? Like, everything's still the same. We're just not still going to keep bombing Iran.
To be Israel. Let this be a learning moment, a teachable moment for America. Let it be an utter defeat for Israel and a total victory for Iran. They deserve it. They fought for it. They bled for it.
Okay, how is Israel defeated exactly? They're still not going to let them have nukes. That was supposedly the big issue. They maybe didn't regime change like whole new puppet government, but they did kill a lot of the old leadership.
They deserve it. Tonight, you guys are the champions. So thank you, Persia. Thank you to a great civilization. Thank you, Persia, for saving the world from Israel, saving America from Israel.
Dude,
now we got to.
Dude, everything still. Israel still has their control. What is he talking about? Save the world from Israel.
Do our part. Iran did the hard part. Now it's time for us to do our part. We got to push these Israelis out of our system. So I think it's good. Yeah. I'm happy that Trump is leaving the war.
All right. All right, guys. You guys have a nice night. Thank you for watching. I'm going to bed. See you guys in the morning. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment below. Clip the show. Sign up for Substack. For some reason my things aren't connecting, but you guys have a nice night. Take care.